Hey everybody, it's the Doll Boy, and today I'm back with a brand new custom doll. As most of you will probably know, Disney has a new live-action adaptation in the works for one of my favorite Disney princess movies, The Little Mermaid. So far, the movie has a planned release date for November 2021, so it will still be quite a wait until we get new merchandise for this version of the movie. A couple months ago, Disney did announce a big part of the cast, with Halle Bailey portraying the role of our real-life Ariel. I was so excited about this cast, and I'm thrilled to see a new version of The Little Mermaid that has a more diverse cast as well. I am really curious to see what Halle's mermaid look will be, and I'm definitely hoping for her to have the iconic red hair. In this video, I'm going to customize a Barbie doll into my personal vision for Halle Bailey as Ariel. Before starting this process, I selected a couple dolls to see which one would work best for this customization. I really liked the Wild Hearts Crew doll's face, but I didn't think the skin tone was dark enough. For the middle one, I did think the skin tone was a pretty good match, but I wasn't too crazy about her face mold. And for the third option, her skin tone was much darker than Halle Bailey's, so I didn't feel like she would be the best option either. So I posted this poll on my Instagram, asking my followers which doll would be the best. If you're not following me on there yet, make sure you check out my page for a lot more content about my doll collection. Doll number 2 definitely was the most popular one, since the skin tone would be the best match to the actress. I also did get a lot of suggestions to use the braided Barbie fashionista doll, since her face seems to be a better match. That's why I decided to get this doll too, and the skin tones matched pretty well. At first I was planning to use this Disney Store body, but as you'll see later in the video, I'm gonna be body swapping her to an orange top made to move body, when the hair is all done. Before getting into the process, I also wanted to show you which specific doll I'm using and what she looked like in the package, in case you want to get this doll and follow along on this customization process with me. The doll's original hair is kind of fun too, and it even looked pretty cute when it was cut short. However, I want to finally start customizing this doll, so I cut off all the hair as short as possible. Then I take some boiling water and dip the doll's head in to soften the plastic of the head. This makes it easier to carefully remove the head from the body. When that's done, I take my tweezers to scrape the inside of the head. By doing this, you're loosening up all the short hair from the inside, so you can take those out with your tweezers as well. That will leave you with a perfectly bald Barbie head, ready to customize. For the reroot I'll be doing, I'm gonna use a dark but vibrant red color to match the color of the scalp. To the hair color, I'll be using some red acrylic paint mixed with Mod Podge. From a comment on a previous video, I learned that this really helps making the paint more durable and waterproof, which I really liked. For this particular doll, one layer of this paint was already enough. To start the reroot, I prepare the rerouting hair by laying down small strands. Then for my rerouting tool, that one broke during my latest reroot, so I'll have to make a new one. I always get a lot of questions on how I make my reroot tools, so I felt this was the perfect opportunity to explain that. What I use is this cork with a plastic cover on it, which I often find on port wines. I also take my pack of needles, which gives me a lot of options to choose from. I usually like to use this long, thin combination. You want to use a long needle because you want it to go through the head far enough to keep the hair inside, but you also want that narrow eye to prevent the holes from getting wider or even cracking. Then I simply cut off the eye of a needle at the very top, making sure to cut off as little as possible. This gives me a hook with one shorter end and one longer end, which is perfect for picking up the hair. To make this into a tool you can safely use to reroot, you just want to stick the needle into the cork. If you're not comfortable with using these type of tools, please ask someone else to help you during the process. Now that that's settled, let's start rerouting our live action Ariel doll. I take one of the strands around my finger, pick it up with my reroot tool, and push it into the head. I start doing this all around the hairline first. Since this doll originally had those braids, the original holes on her are very big, which gives you this very spaced out hairline. To fix this from my reroot, I go in and add a really thin strand of hair in between each of the original holes in the hairline. This gives you a really nice and full hairline, which I definitely was going for. If you're not that experienced on rerouting, I suggest you skip this step or try it on a doll you don't care about first, because if you're not careful enough, this could crack the doll's hairline and ruin your entire project. After tackling that hairline, I give the doll that deep Ariel side part she deserves, by rooting the hair in a straight line as close together as I can. For this part, I also use thicker strands than I do for the rest of the hair to make sure you get this really neat part line when you separate that section into two. I also noticed that after filling the original holes, there were still a lot of bald areas in the hair. That's when I decided to go in between the rows of hair and add my own rows to add more hair to the head. Once that step was done and all the hair was added, I take my Fabri-Tac glue and glue all the hair in place from the inside of the head. I also take my Q-tip to spread the glue out evenly and let it dry overnight. Then I attach the head back on the body. For this, I used the orange top Made to Move Barbie body, which was a very good match. I boil wash the hair to set the part in place and make her hair look nice and flat. And for a more realistic look, I also gave her some baby hairs with acrylic paint in a matching color. For a more detailed look on how to do this, I'll add the link to my baby hair tutorial in the iCards. Once I finished that, I took a small paintbrush and that same paint to paint over her existing eyebrows to give the brows a nice dark red shade to match the new hair color a lot better. I also wanted to make those dark lips a lot more natural, so I took some nail polish remover to remove those lips. I really wanted to try to save that white part at first, but that really didn't work out for me, so I decided to remove all the paint from her lips to start from scratch. Then I create a nude lip color and use a combination of a toothpick and a small brush to apply her new lips. In that first layer, I cover the entire lips and teeth, and when I'm happy with the color application and shape, I add a coat of clear nail polish as a top coat, and let that fully harden before moving on to the teeth. While waiting, I also added Halle's birthmark right above her eyebrow. When the nail polish fully dried, I take some white paint and try to paint some teeth with that paintbrush. That coat of nail polish I applied also allows me to perfect the shape of the teeth with a toothpick, wiping away any paint I didn't want to be there. And then, when I'm happy with the face, it's finally time to style the hair, for which I'm using these tiny straws and bobby pins. I really wanted to give her this nice and curly, natural looking mermaid hair. So I section off the hair, spray it with water, and start wrapping small sections around the thin straws. To get that more natural look, I made sure to alternate the directions from the curls, going both away from the face and towards the face. Then I simply do this all over the hair until I'm done. After leaving these straws in for a couple of days, the weather finally allowed me to take pictures of her in this new top I also created for her. To make sure the hair will look at its best in the pictures, I like to take out the strands only moments before taking the pictures, which is usually at a park. I'm so curious to hear what you think of the outcome of this custom doll and my interpretation of the live action Ariel. If you love this doll and the video process I made for her, make sure to let me know by hitting that like button. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you left a comment letting me know what was your favorite part about this doll transformation. If you want to see more pictures of my Disney dolls, definitely make sure to follow me on Instagram as well, @thedollboy. See you next time!